that tonight we're going to talk about choosing a note-taking application that will fit into your ecosystem of productivity. Good evening, everybody. My name is Florence Donald, and I'm here with the Personal and Productivity Show. And I want to share with you that that's our topic tonight. It is all about a beginner's guide for us. And so a beginner's guide to selecting a note-taking application. My name is Florence Donald. I'm here with the show. I'm your host. Excited to have you here with us. And most of all, I'm excited to work with professionals, churches, ministry leaders, nonprofit leaders to help you elevate your productivity. So we're going to get right into it tonight. I see some folks have already joined us, and I'm excited to have you here. But let's go. I'm going to hop right into the very first tip, and that is you have to know what type of note taker you are. There are multiple types of note takers, and I learned this from a gentleman some of you may have heard of. His name is Tiago Forte. He is the founder and chief architect of the Building a Second Brain movement, and just excited that he is able to share with us so much. But the things that I learned about him is about what type of note takers they are. And when I share this, you know, of course, I think of it in terms of how you think. The first type is the architect. This is probably the most complicated type of note taker. That is someone who loves to design systems. They are typically abstract thinkers. We talked about the type of thinker you are. So architects tend to be very abstract thinkers, and they build things. And so this type of note taker looks for a system that supports their desire and their direction to build a structure around their note taking. An example, hold one, here we go again. I'm being told that I'm muted, but I'm seeing sound come through. So I'm going to keep going, and if you don't hear me, somebody put it in the chat, because I'm seeing sound go out. And I believe, thank you, Roy. I'm going to come to you in a minute. So the type of system that could support an architect is Notion. People who like to build structures and design. The second type is a gardener. These people tend to be visual thinkers. They like to collect information and let it form organically. They're not particularly structured in the way that they look at information and the way they gather information. They're very organic. They allow the notes to kind of form themselves, to structure themselves in terms of what it is. And the people who like that are like these visualization type applications like Obsidian and Rome Research and some of those. The third type is the librarian. And the librarian is a tactile thinker, because they like to organize and categorize their information. So they're taking notes, but they want to structure them in specific categories and work with it that way. They want to know that they know exactly where the information is, what it's called, what it's labeled as. Those are librarians. And an example of people who like this type of note-taking they like Evernote. And it's funny because y'all know I love Evernote, but they like applications like Evernote and sometimes Bear and Microsoft OneNote. The fourth type, and this was really new when I heard Tiago Forte say it, but when he explained it, it absolutely made sense. And these are people who are students. They tend to be visual and tactile thinkers. And they are usually looking at information, gathering it for a purpose, a goal, to take action on it. And they are not looking to categorize information specifically. They're not looking, building a big structure can be overwhelming to them and that type of thing. So students are a special category, but it was very powerful for me to hear him say that and to go back and think about, what does that mean? How does a person work with that type of information? So these four types in applications like Google Keep are really good because it's quick. And we're going to talk about that quickness a little bit later. So we've got architects, we've got gardeners, we've got librarians, and we've got students. So your first tip is spend some time thinking about, how do you process information? How do you like to see it? That's your first tip in choosing an application, because it has to work with the way you think and be comfortable for you. So we've got some folks here this evening, and I want to come right to you. And of course, I am excited that the Purposeful Productivity Huddle community has come together and you're here this evening. And I want to acknowledge some of you, if I can get my screen right. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to do this a different way. So we've got here none other than Mr. Walter Strong with us. I'm going to put you up here with me today. Mr. Walter Strong, glad to have you in the house. Good evening. And yes, we are going after this information. We also have in here, and he was the first one this evening with us, so I want to recognize him, and that is Roy with Tech Troublemaker, doing awesome things out there. Both of you all, I have been enjoying what you're putting out and taking notes. Thinking of taking notes, but not just taking them. I'm doing something with them. So hopefully you're seeing that. Of course, we have Joshua UL with us here tonight, acknowledging Happy New Year Live Tribe. Absolutely. And of course, we have with us another member of the community here with us this evening. And that is, I'm going to throw him over here, Mr. Frank Jackson. Thank you. Good evening, Frank. Glad to have you here. And if you haven't had a chance to do so already, go ahead and hit the like button. And I see you guys are commenting, and it's great to see so many of you in the house with us this evening. Let's move on to item number 2 in our search for figuring out what this beginner's guide, what note-taking application will work for us, to pick one. And that is the types of notes that we take. It's one thing to know what type of note taker you are, and you may be a combination, but then what type of notes are you taking? Because the types will also help you determine what note-taking app will work for you. And what do I mean by the type? I mean, are you taking notes for reference? Are you doing a lot of studying? Are you looking for just archiving information, being able to go back to it? Are you taking notes because you're working with it creatively? You're doing a lot of ideation, you're developing courses, you're working on a website, you're writing a proposal, that kind of thing, creative endeavors. That takes a certain type of note-taking as well, because it's very different than reference. Are you working with project notes? Now, we recognize that developing a course, for example, is a project. But when I say project, you're leading a project maybe with the team. And there are different notes. There are requirements and analysis and phases and all kinds of things that you need, information coming to you from third parties and mission partners. You need to keep it all together. That's another type of note. And maybe it's even notes that you're taking that you're going to turn over to someone else, a client, a business partner, an advisor. Project type notes are unique in that way. A lot of times we're giving them to someone else. A lot of times we're taking notes because we're facilitating an event and we need to turn those notes back to a client or to an internal customer. The last type is these quick notes, and I love quick notes because someone will say something to me and I'll make a quick note about it, a phone number, an address, a direction, a quick reminder. Very quick. You may want to keep them and you may just want to throw them away. Those are some key types of notes that will help you determine what makes sense. If it's reference, I need one type of system. If it's creative and I need to draw maps and frames, wireframes and mind maps, that's a whole different type of note taking. They're all valid, but which one works for you? If you have a way that you use notes or a certain type of note that you use, go ahead and put it in the comments because I'd love to see. And if there's a type of note that I'm not talking about, because this certainly is not all of them, I wanted to just pick a few. Share that so that we can help each other. Tonight is not the sole time we're going to talk about note-taking applications. This is just a beginner's guide to help us start to think about and be intentional about which application we choose and why we're choosing it. The third thing then we get into is, now that we know what type of note taker we are, we know what kinds of notes there are, we get into our own needs. What do I need as an individual for note taking? Am I being in a collaborative relationship? Am I working with someone else that we need to share those notes and work on them and form them into a final product? Maybe it's show notes. Maybe it's a presentation. It could be any number of things. Maybe it's a proposal. Maybe it's a letter, but I've got to work with someone else and we're not going to email this file back and forth. That's one type of note-taking environment or use case that could be very useful for you if that's how you work. Another type is, how often and where do these notes need to be available to me? Do they need to be available to me when I am walking around, when I'm on a train, when I'm out and about, when I'm in a client's office, or am I primarily at a computer? Or do I want them to be available to me when I'm sitting on the sofa and I just got some thoughts and I want to get them out? How available do your notes need to be to you? Because that will inform what makes sense for you to use. For example, I need my notes with me almost everywhere. So even though I use paper, I digitize the paper because I know that's really important. I need to be able to search for it and pull it up. I've learned a long time ago, if that's you, I need them available, then great. You put that down as a requirement. Another one is, how portable do they need to be? And by this, I mean, how easy is it to get the notes using different tools? Example, in my case, I use Windows for my job and I use Mac for everything else. I use Mac computers, iPads, iPhones, everything else is in the Mac world. For Windows, some Mac applications, many Mac applications are not available in the Windows environment. And then there are Windows applications that are not available in the Mac environment. So how portable do you need to flow between two totally different environments to take your notes and to be able to see your notes? That's a huge one, because if you're in a Windows environment and all your stuff is in a Mac environment and you got to wait till you get to the Mac computer, you don't want to be in that situation. The next one is one that I just call, it's the fun. Do I like using it? How important is the look and feel of that application to me? Do I want to feel really good using it? Do I even care? I do care what it looks like, but you may not care. Some people, for example, and I have a colleague like this, who uses strictly text notes. Everything she does, she takes meeting minutes, she does requirements gathering, she simply uses a plain old text file. And that works for her. That would make me insane. I like to be able to color things and bold things and underline things and highlight words. So I need a tool for me that I can do all of that design work, so to speak, in my limited capacity as a designer. But what works for you? How much fun is it for you to use, and how much fun do you need it to be for you as part of your needs assessment? The last one, while these are not all of the decisions, but these are key decisions. The last decision is, if you choose this app, how easy is it for you to get the information out? If for some reason you decide that you want to move the information, the notes you've taken, the reference, the the creativity, the notes, the list, the checklist, you want to move them to a completely different application. How easy is it for you to get it out of there and move it someplace else? If it's hard or it's going to cost a lot, and a cost a lot could be physical dollars, but it also could be in time, because you may have a lot of reformatting to do. Give that some consideration, because it is a factor in what you choose. So with that, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to, I'm going to look here and see if anybody has put any ideas down. Go ahead and share. What type of note taker are you? If you know, what are some of the key decision points that I laid out? Collaborative, creative, reference information that would work for you. And if you're a part of the team that's out there listening and you're not engaging with us in the chat right now, that's fine. I understand. People are feeding children and getting dinner together. We have ways to connect with you. I am excited that you joined us tonight. Welcome as being a part of the live tribe, even though you're not commenting. And for those who are listening to us on replay, thank you for jumping in and listening and getting this information and being able to use it to your advantage for how you're going to work going forward, especially in 2023. I submit that your note-taking application is the hub of everything else. Task managers, automation, it comes out of note-taking. And I want to share what Roy just said, and I'm going to see if I can do this correctly. Roy just said, I'm going to get there. I use note-taking as a mnemonic device instead of its true purpose. I try to manage everything in my head. Roy, my friend, let's not manage everything in our head. Our head is for thinking, not being an information warehouse. I like that term, information warehouse. But our head is not to be an information warehouse. It's for thinking and being creative and problem solving. But great feedback. I love it. So those are really the cores. The bottom line is figure out what problem you're solving. And that really gets down to in that needs assessment. What do you need your note-taking app to do to work with you in the way you need it to work with you? What problem are you solving? Notice I didn't talk about features. Features will have you chasing new applications and being a distraction constantly, because every application, no matter which one you pick, will have things that are great about it and will have things that you would like to have differently. So it's a matter of figuring out which one or two sometimes will fit the need that you have and work the way your brain works. Or can you mold it to work the way your brain works? And those are keys to beginning to select an application. I'm going to throw this up here because this is so hilarious. Josh says, I've learned to manage my life and business in one app. I need my apps to be customizable and collaborative. Hashtag Evernote for the win. You are a man after my heart, because you know I love Evernote, but it's not the right application for everyone. If you are an architect, it can be hard potentially to see how to use such an application in that type of mindset. So it's a wonderful app, but it's not for everyone. There is no one app. There are thousands of note-taking apps. Just do a search. They are literally, and the most basic one is plain old text files. Starting there and going out. So we're going to talk about a few applications in the future and why and what I see out in using them, which ones that may work for you. I would love to hear which ones you use today and how you use them. We know we got Josh here using Evernote, but if you use something else, I think Adobe Under 5 had shared he uses Notion. So there are people who are using different applications and definitely want to experience that with you and talk about the benefits of them, as well as some of the opportunities that they present to you. So with that, I've really gotten to the end, other than our win of the week. So I'm going to ask you all who are here, who are commenting and engaging in the comments tonight, what is your productivity win of the week? We're in the first week of a brand new year. We've done recaps of 2022. We've talked about goals of 2023. We've shared with each other how we're going to change what we're doing in our business. But what has been one, if you have more than that, of course, I'll take them, but at least one productivity win, something that you've implemented or something that you've tweaked since we came together last Friday, which was at the end of 2022. Love to hear about it. So while I'm giving you an opportunity to hear that, just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so and you're here on the replay or you're here in the live. Subscribe to the channel, help us grow, help us reach more people and share this information. Hit the like button if you haven't done so. And remember to share this on your social media. Hit that little share button and share it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you happen to use, whatever social media platforms you happen to use. Help spread the word about what we're doing here in the Personal and Productivity Show. And if you want to be more supportive, go to florencedonald.live and you can join the community officially there. There's some great information, and I want to help you. If you need some help, feel free to book a 15-minute call with me. It'll come right on a calendar and send you a Zoom link and we can talk for 15 minutes. So I look forward. And Roy has shared something, so I want to share this, and this is awesome. Oops. I have been working on being intentional. My word for the year is now. Awesome word, awesome productivity win to share out with everyone. Excited for you, Roy. Now, being intentional. Fantastic. Well, that's really what we have tonight. I'm excited that you all joined us. I will see you back here next Friday. Next Friday at 6:30 p.m. Have a great evening, everybody. I'm going to say good night. And there'll be another video over here for you to see. Have a good evening.